We're not balancing your masculine and feminine energy. We're optimizing. And the reason that we're optimizing is because operating as a highly functioning woman means that you are in essence embodying both. You are both feminine and masculine energy. And we just need to be able to work with both energies and find the equilibrium or the harmonious balance or the dance between the two that suits us. However, there are some pairings that I made. I'm like, no, these two go together, as in this is the masculine dynamic and this is the feminine dynamic, and you put them together to be this powerful but elegant woman. And the one that came through was masculine boundaries, feminine communication, right? So it's going back to, we need to have that masculine structure first. So it's knowing what are your boundaries in life. And this is a tricky one for women because I don't think I understood my boundaries and probably until my mid to late 30s. Now I know them well, but it took me a long time. And do you know what your boundaries are in your relationship? This is one where it tends to get really, there's a lot of gray area, because the moment we are emotionally invested, let's say with a man, it's like we start bending our boundaries and we don't uphold them. But so knowing what they are is paramount. We need to know, what is a boundary in terms of relationships, in terms of dating? What is our boundaries around my work? What is my boundaries around my personal life? What is my boundaries around my health? What are those boundaries first? So understanding what those are first, and then the part of the feminine is coming in and being able to communicate those softly. And here's where we can get stuck when we are more heavily weighted in one energy than the other. Without boundaries, without having that first masculine structure of the boundaries, you're going to be a pushover. Okay? Without that, you're basically communicating with grace and flow and in your feminine energy, but you're not advocating for yourself in any way. You don't know what those boundaries are. You haven't set them. You haven't maintained them. So you will be a pushover. You will be a people pleaser, right? This is a very common pattern for many of us that we are getting a lot better at. Now, without the graceful communication, without the feminine aspect of it, you'll come across as aggressive and masculine. And we all know people like that, right? We all know people like that who seem like really nice people, but then when it comes to communicating, it's like they're very aggressive. And that says a lot of things about how that person is feeling inside, but that's why we need both energies. And when we can balance out those energies in the way that suits us, that's when we're going to reach our potential. So I made a reel the other day, and it was, the essence of it was, being fully in your feminine is a waste of your potential. And I truly believe that. If you're always in your feminine, you're always following your flow, then you're not holding tight to a vision that is your full potential. When you have this download of where your life could go, when you have those big visions and you're like, whoa, wow, that's what I want my life to look like. That is placed upon you, for now you have this responsibility to bring it to light. You cannot get there being fully in, I'm just gonna go with the flow all of the time. The reason is because you came in to have the full depth of this human experience, and for you to do that, you need to flex these other skills, and part of it is that using your masculine energy. So if you're always in your feminine, you are lacking the discipline, the masculine discipline, to execute on the dreams that are rightfully yours. However, being fully in your masculine means you will never feel fully abundant. And I have been there too. When it looked like on the outside, my life was just amazing and perfect, I didn't feel good because I was operating so much from my masculine. What is the masculine, right? What are one of the characteristics of the masculine? It is driven, it is focused, it has a target. If you constantly have a target and all you can focus on is your target, you cannot feel abundant. And that's why we need to have both. That's why we need to embody both and look at the different aspects of the feminine and different aspects of the masculine. And that's really what I'm working on, is creating that model of, okay, so when I say have your masculine boundaries or have boundaries, a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, they don't even want to look at that because it feels scary. No, you can absolutely have very strong masculine boundaries and then it communicated in the most feminine way. And the crazy part is this. Someone who thinks like there's women who are embodied in their masculine, and so if I'm not in my masculine, like I will not get what I want, so therefore I must be driven. These type of women, you probably have some of them in your life, but they're so like this. The issue is this: they may actually get what they want, but they won't enjoy it. They will not enjoy it. And most of the time, especially if we're talking relationally, they won't even get what they want. These are the types of women who end up with feminine men and then wonder why they're not attracted to him. Or they are so frustrated their whole life because they can't attract the masculine man that they want because they're leading fully from their masculine. However, if you know your boundaries because you have a high level of self-worth and you've done that inner work to know this is what I will take, this is what I will not accept, the crazy thing is you will get what you want when you learn how to speak into your boundaries in a feminine and elegant way. It's crazy how we can transform our relationships just by the way that we speak. I know that Dan is not the man that I dated many years ago, but I also know I'm getting a different version of my man because of the way that I speak to him. Because of the way that I speak to him, I receive a different man. Because I was so critical of my past relationship, because I was in mommy mode, because I was like telling them what to do, because I was cold and shut off, what kind of man am I going to receive? I'm going to receive a man that's an energetic match to that. Whereas with Dan, I speak to the king in him. I love the saying that there's a fool and a king in every man, and the one you speak to is the one you will see emerge. When you learn to speak in a soft, feminine, yet direct way, because the feminine can be very direct, but we do it elegantly, you will get what you want, except you'll actually feel good, and the guy will feel good too. Same thing in business relationships. I see this in managing. I have a team with hundreds of people in my team. There are leaders that are super direct, and will they get the result? Probably, but I feel like I can get the results while maintaining those relationships, and I feel like I'm investing in that emotional bank account that will make that relationship last much longer than when I'm so direct and so in my masculine. So your homework is, as something comes up in your life, you can write it down or you can do it like on the go. But get clear on what are your boundaries. What are my boundaries in my business? Like for me, I have a boundary that now I don't take calls, and the very rare exception, as in like I cannot put this person anywhere else in my diary. I will not take calls around my kids' bedtime because it's important to me that I put them to bed. Like it's just something that's important to me at the moment, right? So I don't get angry when someone asks me for a call at that time. I just communicate with love. Like, I'm not available at that time. I would love to take your call at this time. And I propose a different time. So know what your boundaries are. With Dan, it's the exact same thing. But you guys know our relationship quite intimately because I share a lot on here. But when I feel like he's not living into his potential, let's say, for me, I will just communicate with him like, hey babe, so I'm feeling like, it's so funny because I had a mastermind on, what day was it? Was it Friday? I had a mastermind on Friday and we were talking specifically about this, about how we communicate with our men and how we can get what we want without, we'll never get what we want when we just like accuse, because when we accuse and we attack, what happens is he may comply, but the net outcome is a net loss because you will lose the polarity. He will probably resent you. You will be less attracted to him. There's so many downfalls to that. But even in my relationship, when there's a boundary and I feel like I need to communicate that boundary, I will communicate that boundary, and I'm just so careful with my words. For example, I always go in with how I'm feeling is this, even though sometimes I want to say, because you did this, why did you do that? I take you out of it. I'm like, so how I'm feeling is, and what I've noticed is, and I'm taking responsibility for because I'm not a victim. Even if let's say he did something awful or he yelled at me, I'm not going to say, because you yelled at me, I'm feeling like really not that safe right now. I don't respond well when do you see how I'm not like, you have a problem, you're yelling, why are you yelling at me? Do you see the difference? You're immediately diffusing the situation. You are immediately still communicating your boundaries, because what could I do? I could say nothing. I could walk away from the situation and just let him have his moment, but we haven't actually fixed anything. So it's about being able to communicate that boundary, but communicating it in a way that you're actually going to get. This is not about being submissive for the token, oh, I'm being submissive. No, the reason that there's so much wisdom in these old teachings, it's not that wisdom skipped the generations before us, by the way. It's like we go to the ancient teachings and we almost think like the women before us and the later generations prior to us, that somehow they didn't have wisdom. They had wisdom. There's a reason that they say to be submissive. The submission is so that it's a tactical move, that you are not attacking his masculine energy, which can only do one thing. It's either going to make him go fawn or him go attack. Either way, you're not going to get what you want. It's a strategic move from the woman to create the outcome that we want. We have so much more power than we even understand. We have so much power in our mouth. That's where it is. It's in our tongue. It's the words that we use, how we communicate with our men is going to literally create the outcome. And it's funny because Dan always says, I know that you're giving me feedback, but you don't ever say you're giving me feedback, because I don't want to get into coaching mode with him. I'm not his coach. It's inappropriate for me to coach him. Men don't like to be told what to do. So I'm very conscious of these things. I never want to tell him what to do. And I'm always communicating my feelings. My feelings only, and I'm taking full responsibility for my feelings, and I'm not projecting on him and blaming him for my feelings. They're inside my body. That's victim talk when we say, you made me feel like, right? What is your boundaries in your social life? Are you not eating something right now? You're not drinking. For me, I'm not drinking alcohol at the moment, and it doesn't mean I never will. It's just not what I'm doing. So at the mastermind, obviously we go to really nice restaurants and there's alcohol. I'm not drinking at the moment. That's it. You can say it with grace, be prepared for pushback as well, and just stand in your power. And that's the other thing. When you're grounded in your power, when you're grounded in your certainty, this is where the regulation work comes in, is when you are secure, when you are grounded in your truth, this is my boundary. You don't get rattled when people question you. You don't get rattled when people push back. You're in this calm place. And the crazy thing is, when you create a stillness within you, that is what you will see being reflected back to you. I feel like I've gotten really good at that. One place I haven't mastered it though is with my kids. I tend to still be hot mess express. There's a fool and king in every man. We get whichever one we speak to. Absolutely, absolutely. I heard someone speak on this as well, and they had a different take on it. It was more like a biblical take, and I thought, you know what? This is powerful regardless if you believe in God or not, because you could talk about it. When you think about God, it's love, it's the creator, it's source energy. If you look at source, same thing, right? It's like infinite love. People who have experienced altered states, they talk about God being the source of love. It was an interview and the woman was saying, what happens when I look at my husband and he's not as developed as me. He's not following the Bible like I am. He's not a good disciple. He's not leading the home. And how do I? And God said, talk to me when you see him the way I see him. And how does God see his children? He sees us in our divinity. He sees us in our light. He sees us in our potential. And so once we look for the best in people, that's what we receive. When we see the king in our husband, that's what we're going to create. And even in instances where, because I've been there and I have seen it with my clients, I tried if we have like bi-weekly calls, it goes, for the last 2 weeks, I tried so hard. I diffused all the arguments. I kept trying to see him in his light. That butthole is still not responding the way I want. And this is where you just have to maintain that frequency. And I know that it can feel tricky when you're waiting for where's that transformation? Like, I'm holding this frequency for him. Where's the transformation? It is coming. We just need to be patient and just keep holding him in his light. The other thing is, remember, he's reflecting back off of you. So if he's used to you being in the cycle of seeing him in his light, and then you're like, it will only last a week or two, whatever that window tends to be. And then you're immediately like, why aren't you blah, 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 blah. He's waiting. He's now just waiting. The next time that happens, he's like waiting. He's like, yep, here we go again. This is the pattern. And she's going to freak out on me. Like, I give her a couple more days. So show that you are the one that's changed. Remember, be the change you want to see. So if you want him to change, it starts with you. If you keep going back to the same patterns that's keeping you guys, that dynamic is never going to change. So it really is about us. Let's not focus on how he needs to change. Focus on who you need to embody. And if he wants to change, fantastic. If he doesn't want to change, then it's either you change the situation or you change your perspective of it, right? Those are our two choices. So I'm probably going to be sharing more of these with you as I hash out this model, but I really just want to equip you guys with what's the thing. I don't want to just push you into your masculine. Be strong in your masculine, be strong in your feminine, and lean into that. But why? And how do they pair together? And how can we make sense of it so that, oh yes, okay, I'm leaning into my masculine for this. How do I bring in the feminine to make me feel good? Remember, the reason that we're not fully in our masculine and we embody the feminine as well is because we want to feel that sense of abundance. It's the feminine that allows us to feel abundant. The masculine is always going to want more, and wanting more is great. We want it. Let's go. It gives us that drive, that energy. But at the same time, one of the ways to, number one, feel good in the moment, but also expedite that path from here to where we want to be, is to start feeling abundant now.